Okay, I am back with some more Bible thoughts. As I go through the Bible again, I am looking at Genesis 6 today, and there's a couple different interpretations that I thought were very interesting. So, we are talking about the people beginning to multiply on earth. And we look at Genesis 6 2. It says, "The sons of God saw the beautiful women and took any they wanted as their wives." Um, and I thought that this was interesting because it's referred to as the sons of God versus the daughters of men, um, and the Nephilim. And it seems like there's a couple different interpretations of the Nephilim. So it sounds like the Nephilites are sons of God who are fallen angels that came down to earth and were with the women and created the Nephilim. But I saw recently another interpretation that I thought was very interesting, and it was saying that the descendants of Seth were the sons of God, and the descendants of Cain were the daughters of men. And so the mixing of those two is what created people that were immoral. Um, but I do think that it's interesting that the sons of God are mentioned only a few other times throughout the Bible, and it does seem to point to an interpretation meaning fallen angels. I'm curious about what you guys think. I thought that that was an interesting reading, especially because they are described as giving birth to children who became the heroes and famous warriors of ancient times. But at the same time, these are the very people that lead God to be very upset. So we look at Genesis 6:3. Then the Lord said, "My spirit will not put up with humans for such a long time, for they are mortal flesh." And then he limits their lifespan to 120 years. And then he says a little bit further down that he's sorry he ever made them. And it breaks his heart what's going on earth. And so I think that that is just so interesting. And of course, if they're fallen angels, that makes total sense, because they're turning their backs on God. They're leaving heaven. And to do that, you'd have to have some darkness in you. Um, and then of course we go into the birth of Noah, which is another interesting story. Um, I want to maybe do another reading from the book of Enoch because it actually talks about the birth of Noah, um, and I think that that might be something interesting. But I think that's all my thoughts um, from this one. But very interesting. What are your thoughts on Nephilim?